Hello. Hello, check, check. Hello, check, check, hello.
Paging for everybody behind. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly occupy the front rows. We're just about to begin. Can we stop the music, please? Thank you. Thank you, Console. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We're just about to begin. Everybody sitting in the back rows in the middle, can you please stand up and occupy the first 3 rows, please? After the VIP chairs, kindly occupy the front rows. Thank you so much. What an amazing audience. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being on time. We apologize for starting a little late. We're waiting for more people to come in. Can I hear a big round of applause for everybody present out here? Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished judicial luminaries, respected government officials, members of the legal fraternity, apartment owners, students, guests, and friends. A very warm welcome to Proprietas 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for everybody present around here. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Shabir, and it is my privilege to serve you as the Master of Ceremonies this very late afternoon. Today's event brings together eminent judges, policy makers, regulators, legal practitioners, and subject matter experts to help us better understand the legal framework governing apartment ownership and property transactions in Karnataka. Over the next few hours, we'll explore not only the law as it exists today, but also the practical realities faced by apartment owners, housing associations, developers, lawyers, and public authorities. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that every participant out here leaves with a greater clarity and awareness. On behalf of the organizers, a big thank you for being out here and contributing to this important awareness program. Ladies and gentlemen, I now request all the dignitaries present out here to please come up on stage to light the lamp. Can I hear a big round of applause for the dignitaries? Ladies and gentlemen, let's invoke wisdom, knowledge, and guidance to a traditional ceremonial beginning. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. What an honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the dignitaries on stage. Give them a big round of applause. Can you please join us for lighting of the lamp, sir? Please. Thank you. Please.
ಜೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿ ಹಲೋಹರದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣವನದ ತೇಗ ಗಂಧ ತರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ಜೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿ ಹಲೋಹರದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಾಲೆಯಲಿ ಗತ ಸಾಹಸ ಸಾರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಸಾಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇತಿಹಾಸದ ಹಿಮದಲ್ಲಿನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಾಲೆಯಲಿ ಗತ ಸಾಹಸ ಸಾರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಶಾಸನಗಳ ಸಾಲಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಓಲೆಗರಿಯ ಸಿರಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಗುಲಗಳ ಭಿತ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯೇ ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗರಿಮೆಯೇ ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸಶೀಲ ನುಡಿಯ ಲೋಕಾವೃತ ಸೀಮೆಯೇ ಹಲವೆನ್ನದ ಹಿರಿಮೆಯೇ ಕುಲವೆನ್ನದ ಗರಿಮೆಯೇ ಸದ್ವಿಕಾಸಶೀಲ ನುಡಿಯ ಲೋಕಾವೃತ ಸೀಮೆಯೇ ಈ ವತ್ಸರ ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರ ಮನದುದಾರ ಮಹಿಮೆಯೇ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ. ಜೋಗದ ಸಿರಿ ಬೆಳಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಗೆಯ ತೆನೆ ಬಳುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಹ್ಯಾದ್ರಿಯ ಲೋಹದದಿರ ಉತ್ತುಂಗದ ನಿಲುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಹರಿದ್ವರ್ಣವನದ ತೇಗ ಗಂಧ ತರುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ನಿನಗೆ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ ತಾಯಿ ನಿತ್ಯೋತ್ಸವ.
Thank you, Anirudh. That was really mellifluous.
At the outset, let me beg you of all of you for making the departure from the set protocol. Maybe there would be some more invocation songs and thereafter the traditional welcome speech, introducing the guest speech. But I'm sorry I'm breaking from all these things because I have to catch a flight at 5:55. So it takes an hour and a half from here to reach the airport. So please pardon me. Professor Ramchandran, who has mentored thousands of students and who has been a district judge in Kerala, his erudite pupil, Madam Bina Pillai, who is also the ceaseless fighter of hundreds of causes, not one or two. She is a ceaseless fighter of hundreds of causes. When she used to appear before me, in some cases I always felt that she were my advocate. I may or may not have agreed with her, but I am very appreciative, you see, of her research, her investigation, and her, you see, commitment to espouse the cause of the client. And policymakers, bureaucrats, property developers, academicians, research scholars, students, and all other members of this very, very distinguished gathering. It gives me immense pleasure to be amidst you to share my random views on managing apartment communities with legal clarity. I will not take more than 8 minutes. When we purchase an agreement, we are not just buying a roof over our head. We are buying a promise. Promise of what? Promise of community living, promise of modern amenities, promise of shared security and hassle-free lifestyle. The very foundation of an apartment rests on the Residents' Welfare Association or Apartment Owners Association. Apartment living is a social contract. It's a promise that a community of strangers will share walls, waters, corridors, lifts in a spirit of mutual respect and legal accountability. The law is just an instrument that keeps this promise enforceable. You have facilities and amenities like gymnasium, swimming pool, badminton courts, tennis courts, and temples too. Living in an apartment has become very popular for its convenience. Living in the apartment has not merely remained a preferred housing option. It has become inevitable. Think of the nuclear families or senior citizens. They cannot live by themselves. If they live in the apartment, immediately they can get the services of the electrician, plumber, and there is, security against the entry of outsiders till they get the approval from the inmates. I personally feel these days if somebody can live in independent bungalows or houses, it's only where 3 generations are living together. 3 generations are, if grandparents, parents, and grandchildren, they are living together, it is all right. You can afford to live in an independent house. Otherwise, living in the apartment becomes inevitable. The primary statute which governs the field in Karnataka is the Karnataka Apartment Ownership Act 1972, which provides for conferring upon each apartment owner an independent transferable title to a particular unit with an undivided share in the common areas. Common areas are handed over to the association only for the limited purpose of maintaining and managing them on behalf of the apartment owners. I read in the newspaper here and there that there is also a move to create duality of ownership. In my objective and humble opinion, it is legally not feasible. The question of conveying the title of the undivided common areas and facilities in favor of any welfare association or cooperative society does not arise at all. Friends, now let us see what are the major problems that the apartment purchasers and apartment dwellers are facing. One, more often than not, the developers delay the formation or creation of apartment owners association. And such a delay would invariably produce the consequence where the apartment dwellers have no bargaining strength with the developer and also with the civic authorities. You know that the developers often advertise premium amenities, for example, indoor swimming pool with a hot water, but they fail to deliver these amenities. Or if they deliver, those amenities would be incomplete or substandard. In the absence of the apartment owners association, the aggrieved individuals have to only go before the RERA or consumers forum. So the paramount need is to form the apartment owners association in the apartment complexes. Second problem, I learned some developers, they hand over the possession of the units or the flats to the buyers without obtaining occupancy certificates and completion certificates. If you occupy in the absence of occupancy certificate, completion certificate, your possession would be illegal, and it exposes you to the penalties and potential eviction notices from the municipality or the corporation. The third problem is, which is very common in Bangalore, unauthorized alterations to the original buildings. That is, they make a departure from the building plan, such as converting the common spaces into commercial spaces, or adding some more floors, or putting extra units. Such deviation may lead to demolition of the building by the local government authorities like municipalities and corporations. Such issues would really diminish the quality of life for the apartment residents, besides imposing additional financial burdens on the owners and dwellers. Yet another issue which may be debated at some length is whether in the apartment complexes you have to have management committee of unitary nature or federal nature. That is, if there are 10 blocks or towers, whether there should be a management committee for each block, or you should have management committee in common for all the 10 blocks. There could also be a third model, quasi-federal, that is, there will be one committee for each tower, and then 10 or 15 such committees would in turn have one centralized agency to take care of the general problems. So think over that. In today's workshops or seminars, this has to be dilated on. How to participate in the decision-making process, how to involve the residents at each stage of decision-making, how to evoke their sense of participation, shared responsibility, and how to ensure transparency and accountancy in the functioning of the management committees are also to be debated in today's proceedings. Friends, I can tell you from my experience, members of the management committee, some of them, they hail from very good background. They are senior professionals in their chosen area. They have good intents also. But they will not be having the practical experience to run the affairs of the apartment. So I'm just wondering whether Madam Binna Pillai and her team members would organize the workshops for training the members of the management committee also. That is also required in my opinion. I sincerely hope the deliberations of this seminar will generate rich insights, honest solutions, and practical guidance for the lawyers and their apartment purchasing and apartment dwelling clients. I thank all of you for the patient hearing. I thank Madam Binna Pillai and her team members for inviting me and showering so much of affection on me and giving me this opportunity to share some of my random thoughts with you. I would have loved to stay back till the end, Only because of this pressing compulsion, I have to live in the middle. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your views, your wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our chief guest, Honorable Justice Ashok B. Hinchegiri. Can I hear a big round of applause? Thank you so much, sir. What an honor. Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us, sir. Really appreciate it in spite of your busy schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Thank you for sharing your very valuable views, giving us a clarity on a very, very important subject. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to introduce Honorable Shri K. Ramachandran, retired District and Sessions Judge from Kerala. A distinguished member of the judiciary, Shri Ramachandran served with great distinction as a District and Sessions Judge before joining the Kerala High Court Bar following his retirement. He holds a unique distinction of being the last district judge to retire at the age of 55 prior to the enhancement of the retirement age for judicial officers. Over the course of his illustrious career, he served as governing council of ILR Kerala and was a member of the Rules Committee for nearly 2 decades, contributing significantly to the development and administration of the legal system. He was also an active participant in the Lok Adalats and continued his legal practice for over 3 decades after retirement. Today, even after stepping from active practice, Sri Ramachandran continues to mentor and inspire young members of the legal fraternity through his vast experience and wisdom. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Honorable Sri K. Ramachandran.
Well, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, I thought there will be many dignitaries on the dais, but now I find only one dignitary who is the most important dignitary for this subject. Now I am asked to speak on something like delay in law courts and all that. Because that's a subject which I can deal it with only because you forget about whatever I have served here, there and all that because you score it off from your memory card. But the experience, it is told, it is the best teacher. So far, I will confine my talk only to the difficulties of trial in the trial courts. Because for the big boss in the High Court, of course, I had practiced for more than 3 decades. Now I am withdrawing from that also, so served the High Court also in many. But so far as the difficulties of hearing in the High Court, I will not say anything, for because of my position in the legal field now. Now, so far as this difficulties of trial in the trial courts, I can share my thoughts with you because I have been there for many years, from the Munsi to the district and session states. And my legal journey is almost coming to an end, mostly because of my age and not because of that alone. Now I have come here mainly because of the pressure of my erstwhile brilliant junior, Beena Pillai. She was with me for a few years and she left me for her own good. Without my knowledge, I may add. Now coming to the topic, trial, I don't know how many advocates are present here or how many retired judicial officers are present here. So whatever I speak now is only sharing of my thoughts with you. Now, so far as the trial is concerned, you know, this dharma I used to call is a chariot which has got 4 wheels. The first 2 wheels are the presiding officers and the lawyers. The second and third, the first 2, the third and fourth, behind the judges or presiding officers, there are the lawyers. Now behind the lawyers, there are the lawyers' clerks. Now so far as lawyers' clerks are concerned, they are diminishing community now because of the introduction of the new system, e-filing. I will not go to that. And their plight is not good or brilliant or pay as that wheel is practically gone. Now, with use, now e-filing, the modern technology, all those things I am not going to say. Now, so far as the trial is concerned, it is the presiding officer and the lawyer. The other 2 important wheels of the dharma, the chariot. Now, so far as I will take up first the presiding officers, I do not know whether any retired presiding officers are here. You will bear with me if I say something. Now, so far as for that, what are their difficulties? Now, suppose a brilliant man, top first in the BL examination. Now you have got at least 3 years advocates practice to write for the exam, because for some time, no experience. You can straight away, after passing, you can straight away enter into the judicial field, provided you pass the examinations. Now that is 3 years active experience in a lawyer. That is there necessary. I will say I was canvassing for 5 years, because to become a presiding officer suddenly by a lawyer, what does it mean? It means only you are a slave to your bench clerk, or what you say, what do you call here, I don't know, the court officer. You don't know nothing. You know only the text, the textual aspects. Can you hear me? Yes. I hope there is no problem. There is no problem for hearing, because some mic is out. Whenever the Chief Minister of Kerala comes, it is said that the mic will be off sometimes. Anyway, we will go on with the present device. Now, so far as the trial is concerned, that is the difficulty. Even if the brilliant advocate comes from a judicial officer, can he conduct the trial with the present system speedily, expeditiously, efficiently and justly? Think about it. Can you do it? Because there is some pitfalls, drawbacks, defects in the system itself. Pleadings have to come to him. Some statement is given. Somebody has come. So I will cut short, because there are enough speakers for you. So I will say the system has to be changed, and in spite of the change in the Civil Procedure Code, Criminal Procedure Code, and lastly by Evidence Act and all this, and changing the name, it's not enough if the old wine is put in the new bottle. So that is there. Anyway, the system has to improve some more. There are many miles to go before the concerned authorities go to sleep. That's all what I have to say. Now, so far as the other thing is concerned, because I am given only 4 minutes, I think. Now, there is the introduction of artificial intelligence. It has come into play. Now, I have noted some points. I will read it because of paucity of time. Now, artificial intelligence, I will call it AI in quotes. benefits and risks. I'm confining to trial, remember. AI can be a powerful aid to courts, but it should remain an assistant to judges, not a substitute for judicial wisdom and discretion. How AI can help courts? Faster research, instantly searches statutes, precedents, and legal principles, reduces the time spent on legal research. Case management helps classify and prioritize your list system, weekly list, daily list. Give it to AI, it will prepare. Then drafting assistance, assist in preparing draft orders, notices, summaries, and cost lists, not judgments. Improves efficiency in routine work. Handling large volumes of data. Now quickly analyzes thousands of pages of your pleadings, lawyers' pleadings, documents and evidence. Identifies relevant materials for consideration. Then translation and language support. I will just give the only points. Improved access to justice. How? AI-powered legal information systems can guide litigants regarding procedures and filing requirements. Then consistency helps identify conflicting precedents, divergent precedents, and promotes uniformity in legal research. That is there. Then reduction of administrative burden for principal city civil court or principal subjects or even for principal sessions judges. This reduces administrative burden. How? Automate scheduling, record management, and document indexing. Then comes the more dangerous aspect, possible misuse of AI. Now I will say, hallucinated cases and citations means the lawyer cites some decisions reported in AR 1953 to Orissa, I forgot the page, no such decision. But if AI does, you depend upon it. That is, it may invent non-existent judgments or misquote precedents. Now, blind reliance can lead to serious judicial errors. Bias and discrimination, another misuse. All systems may reflect biases present in training data. This can affect fairness and equality before the law. Loss of human judgment. Justice involves empathy, morality, and discretion. Time here. AI cannot fully appreciate human circumstances. I will cut short because warning is given to me. Privacy concerns, lack of transparency, over-dependence, cyber security risk, threat to judicial independence, all are misuse of AI. AI should assist, not decide. The ultimate responsibility for findings of fact, etc. I will, one sentence alone, artificial intelligence may help courts deliver justice faster. Only human intelligence and judicial wisdom can ensure that justice is delivered fairly. Now, thank you for patiently hearing me for such a few minutes. I would have talked to you for several hours, but the topic is so vast, a vast ocean, even the difficulties of trials in trials, a very vast ocean, and a very provoking, and much is said about such things. More has been written on, but less, if not nothing, has been done to realize it. And there is a, if Malayalis are here, there is a Pothinte total Vedamodit in the Karyam. What is the use of all these things telling to you? I may also take leave after 10 or 15 minutes, and thank you patiently for hearing me. If you think that it has been slightly beneficial to you, I will take the credit. If you think that an old man has come from Kerala and spoke some nonsense, the discredit will go to the organization's function, excluding Beena Pillai. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause.
Sir is aged 89. I just wanted to tell that.
Thank you, Beena. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the enthusiasm and the need out here to serve the society at large at 89 is highly, highly commendable. Ladies and gentlemen, deserves your respect. A big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I now invite our next speaker, Al-Rafiq Moideen sir. He's the head of legal and Chief General Manager of MRPL and has an impressive legal career spanning 27 years. He's worked for many organizations like HUTCO and BHEL before joining his current assignment at MRPL under ONGC Group. His performance as a general counsel was recognized with several awards, like the prestigious award given by Legal 500 in 2017, 2019 and 2022, BW Legal World Award in 2022, etc. Last year, in the year 2023, his excellence was once again recognized, being selected to receive the Outstanding General Counsel Award by the GC Powerlist 2023. He has perfected the art of being a top quality legal professional. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, Al-Rafiq Moideen. Please welcome.
Heard Honorable Justice Ashok B. Hinjnagari, our Honorable coming to the topic of today. This is supposed to be a legal awareness session for all of those who are caring about their living in a city like Bangalore. We all have come from different village backgrounds or even the old Bangalore, where the life was so peaceful, life was in serenity. Today, we have our great city of Bangalore, famous for its traffic, chaotic living, and many more troubles across. I have experience of being a resident of an apartment, as also a member, a office bearer of an apartment association. So from both the angles, I could say there has been a lot of confusion among the residents, among the owners of the apartments and the associations. We have the confusion beginning from what association we have to form and how to manage a building. The builder has the expertise, but once the builder goes, we take over the maintenance of a massive building. It's not a simple building. It has thousands of people of varied character, varied jobs, different thoughts, and different backgrounds. The problem with the association and its office bearers is that we have to manage a big group of people. It involves a kind of HR job, people management. I would say in my tenure as an office bearer of the association committee, I felt that the maintenance job is fine, but it is more difficult to make people understand on each and every aspect of the maintenance. Many a times we say the job in a committee of an apartment association is a thankless job. We work for no remuneration. We work to hear scoldings, hear complaints, and do service for the fellow residents in our apartment. And the apartment owners never understand us. As an apartment owner, I always find some shortcoming with the committee. Committee is not taking quick action. Committee is taking very hasty action. Committee is taking no action. Any of these complaints can come with any minute problems in the apartment. Again, as an apartment dweller, I feel that the entire problem mostly comes from the handing over. We are not getting a handing over properly from the builder. Many times there are tussles between the builder and developer, builder and landowner, and finally it percolates down to the apartment owners in some way or other. How does this come? And the builder simply leaves. He doesn't guide us, he doesn't hand over anything to us. And we have to fight amongst ourselves. One segment of the residents want a charitable society as the association committee. Another segment wants a cooperative society as the association for the management of the apartments. And a legally understood person would say that it has to be an apartment owners association which has to be formed as per the law. Then you will find 3 committees parallelly working for the maintenance of the same apartment. All these roots from confusion regarding the understanding of the law. Law is a vast subject, no doubt. As our judge was mentioning, there is a lot of things to learn in law. At the age of 89, he was trying to disseminate the information on artificial intelligence and its interaction with law. Law has been developing, it is always dynamic, and the recent amendment which has come up and the government's intervention has set right the thought about the management of the association, apartments. It has been now settled, very well settled, that apartment owners association has to be formed for any apartment, for the maintenance of that apartment. Then only a proper handover, then only a proper maintenance, then only the authorities for the association to collect maintenance charges, all this can happen. According to me, I would also, at this juncture, I would also thank Ms. Binay Pillai, learned advocate who has handled a variety of cases on this subject and tried to get a clarity on the subject. Who has to maintain, whether it is a cooperative society or a charitable society or a apartment owners association as per the Act. So her services to this particular segment of law has to be reckoned as a very valuable and precious service. And I would also say that in spite of her busy schedules, busy meetings and busy court hearings, she has been able to convene this kind of a legal awareness session for the benefit of all apartment dwellers and the public. This has been a commendable effort on her side, which she has repeated this year. Last year we had seen a very thought-provoking session, and she was able to deliver as we expected, and this year again she has come up with this. This session, I am very sure that with the honorable dignitaries who are going to arrive on the dais, who are going to speak to you, further from Justice Hinjanagiri and our learned judge, are going to make you enrich with knowledge on the subject. And further to that, Ms. Advocate Beena Pillai would be giving a very good lecture on the subject, on the core of the subject. I am here to express my thanks for inviting me to this and giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on this with all of you. Thank you to all the organization. Thank you all.
Mohiddin, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Give him a big round of applause. All right, please welcome our next speaker, Ramesh Padmanabhan, Governing Council member of BAF. Ramesh Padmanabhan is a chartered accountant with over 25 years of experience in exporting outsourced casting and components. He also provides consulting in finance, marketing, legal, technology transfer, and training both in India and overseas. He is a mathematics graduate from St. Stephen's College, Delhi, 1980 batch, and has been a past speaker at ICWI, ICAI, and in the private sector. He's also served as guest faculty at IIM Bangalore in finance and marketing. His journey with BAF began in 2021 as a Banashankari Cluster Council member, later serving as a secretary of the cluster. Since January 2025, he has been serving as a governing council member, contributing to several successful initiatives during his term. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to enumerate his vision and focus areas for 2025-2027, working towards eradicating legislative bias against vertically stacked flats classified as bulk generators/consumers, establish a BAF training cell to conduct paid RWA management workshops in newly completed projects, build strong relationships with apartment association federations in Karnataka and across India, contribute to drafting a digital electricity grid for BAF members to enable renewable power and carbon credit trading, and also support drafting of the proposed KOMA rules, drive growth of BAF membership by 5,000 new members. Ladies and gentlemen, Ramesh Padmanabhan, put your hands together, welcome him.
People start the session with thanks to a lot of people. There is a lot of formality, and that's how we have conducted our life. Whereas I possibly was influenced more by Pink Floyd, whose famous song said, "Teacher, leave the kids alone." If any of you have a time, please go back and think. One of the biggest problems and challenges which we have is in our way of thinking. And we never do what is called as a root cause analysis. Why have we landed here? What brought us here? So let me share with you 2 lines of wisdom before we start and get into the presentation. If you can understand that, you have understood everything. First thing is, we are lucky and fortunate that in Karnataka, we have a patron saint who is dedicated to the construction and building trade, who has not been recognized by the building and construction trade or the government. Please give a big hand to Lord Purandradasa, who said, "Idilla nammane, ade nammane." Please build on it. I'm not a Kannadiga, I can't understand, but I've understood what he said. But we are fighting for this money. Please think about it. If you can't live as a community, etc., Purandardasa might check and ask you, what did you do in your community? This record is something which you have to see. Now let's understand the other logic. We have only one way to evaluate purchase propositions. The government has wonderfully taught us, go for the lowest cost tender. When we try to buy property, we go for the obvious, as many square feet as possible for my budget. Have you thought, is water available? Our power is available? Permissions are available? No. Where we get a 1 BHK in Prestige or whatever it is, I can get a 2 or 3 BHK, so I'll buy that. Now, who is the root cause of the problem? It's our thought process. So please pay attention to your own thought process, and further, this gets escalated as we go into maintenance. Again, the same philosophy applies. So we give a buy. If there is a fire, your fire tender cannot arrive. Please think about it. Your roads are narrow. You also over-constructed, so there is no chance that you will reach. If I may say so in black humor, please don't pay insurance. It's not worth it. You only made the insurer rich. Before going, please do pray and ask the gods whether they'll give you at least some good karma credit for having paid the insurance premium. So this is the background, and surprisingly, this coexists with a community which also claims that we can deliver the extremely complex projects for the rest of the world. To give you an example, Zurich Stock Exchange had to do a change of systems live, which meant that they had upgrading their systems, and people who were trading, who were placing orders, who were buying and selling, did not notice that the system has changed behind. Who did this? TCS. This was done maybe 20 years ago. How is it such intelligent people who can do so many things in so many fields? TCS was only an example. We can send the moon to the wrong side, our rocket to the wrong side and make it land on the moon, but we are not able to fix our association. Who is responsible? And frequently we keep on cursing the law and its draft. It's poorly drafted, it is this, it is that. Now, we have a golden opportunity here because there is a new act which is coming in. For the first time in the Karnataka Apartment Ownership Management Act, you have the chance to participate. Please use this opportunity for the first time because we can collate our opinions together and create the law which we want. Create the transparency which we want. Please also remember, it's very easy to keep looking amongst ourselves and understand the shortcomings of our community. Have you ever thought, we all speak about this term called drip irrigation. How did this come about? There was a small kibbutz in Israel, and there was a gentleman called Simcha Blas who one fine day found one tree growing better than the other trees because there was a broken pipe by its side. That was the start of drip irrigation. A global giant was grown by that community. I guess they don't have to pay maintenance to their community. Are you able to understand the implications? If all of you who are standing divided stand together, you could even create a business which would change the world. You have the brains, you have everything, but you finally come and stand here saying, the dog has bitten me. Let's go to the police. X made noise. I don't know. I have no answers. As a mathematician, I can even tell you, Serge Lang, one of the biggest professors of algebra, wrote a nice small note on how vitiated elections can be, and you end up with the undesired result because some candidates came in between. They cut into the vote bank. So there is a lot of history. And there is a lot of things which we have to look at before I started and gave you the presentation. And that's why I decided first to speak to you heart to heart without getting into thanking you for sitting and listening to me, etc., etc. This is the standard, sorry to put it, BS which we have been given for a long time. I'm a strong believer in not only Floyd, I also remember Strawberry Fields, another famous song from Beatles. Nothing is real, nothing to be hung about. Strawberry fields are forever. It's a pity that we seem to read all this, sing all this, but when it comes to real life, we are struggling as though we are flies which are caught in a thick soup. With that, I'll request my friend here to quickly take you through a journey of what has happened on KOA-MA. Basically, the first problem which we have is, let's understand the new act is planned. It is basically like engagement has been announced. The marriage date has still not been fixed. Yes, the government is talking of allowing it to be happening by this monsoon session. I hope it goes through. If it goes through, it's still the first phase, because after that comes the rules. After that comes the actual implementation. We all need to participate and look at this as an opportunity to participate, and let's not behave like the usual cattle classing. They have done the mistake. Please read every little bit, come back, and let's collectively voice our opinion and make the bill which we want. It is possible. Others also look at social media. Please collect your opinions and put it across like a good set of people who are well managed, who are professionals, which we have heard of. We can create the law which we want, and it is possible. So now, let's understand why we say Karnataka Apartment Owners Act is the right act to register as on date. It is because of the fact that it creates an inheritable title which can be transferred. If you were to look at KSRA, it's meant to promote objectives like promotion of sport. It doesn't allow you to maintain a building. If any member of a society passes away, membership does not automatically mean title to the common area passes on. That is the real difference. Similarly, when we talk of Cooperative Act, many people think that's the way to go. Please understand, Maharashtra has a separate Cooperative Housing Act. We do not have. Do you want to work along with the BD workers? I'm very happy for you. I'm sorry, I am not used to speaking softly and nicely. All through my life, I have learned the guy who speaks only gets soup. Dickens was the man who wrote about it. I'm sorry, I have learned always to be that child who asked and said, I want more, I can't live with what you're doing. In fact, the man who got me into BAF is there in the audience, and my president, Satish Malaya, they were tolerant of me because I asked some absolutely abrasive questions, and they decided it's better to put me on this side of the fence than the other side. And I humbly acknowledge their contribution. Now, if you were to go into the next step which is there, beyond this, we understand that we don't have the right act, and the main problem is Karnataka Apartment Ownership Act is silent on reconstruction of the building. Maybe in 72, when we built the buildings, there was no need to consider or think, will this building ever collapse? I also hope it doesn't collapse. I'll allow you to think about it, and in case you have interest in ethics of construction, please go back and see about a Professor Mearsheimer who constructed a building for Citibank in New York, which was its headquarters. A student, after the inauguration of the building, said, "Sir, you seem to have used your knowledge to build a building which never considered the winds which are blowing in a diagonal direction. Root 2 of the wind would have decimated the building." That student was right. Mearsheimer, post-construction of the building as an architect, went back to the city authorities and said, I think there is a flaw in the building, called his biggest opponent and challenger and said, you also sit in the committee and let's find a solution. I leave you to get into the details of it by yourself, but the point is, Which Indian professional do you think post 2-3 years of construction will come back and say, I made a mistake? Will anyone raise his hands and acknowledge it? That is professional. The only other profession which has worked well in life as a chartered accountant, I will humbly acknowledge those who worked in the oldest profession. They were also far more truer. If they were paid, they just rendered their services and left. Let's not speak of all other versions which came in between. This may be absolute a crime to say this from the stage, but this is the true state of our affairs. Let's continue further. Now, whenever anything is promoted, the promoter only looks like playing a game of relay race. He just wants to hand over and vanish from that moment. Why? Should there not be a connection with the architect, with the builder, and others for a lifetime? Why is it we are fighting shy of building a relationship and talking of them as partners? If the building stands for 25 years, would you ever like to call your original architect and ask him, why did he design the building this way? You can do it, and you will get some interesting insights at the end of 25 years. Please look at building these relationships rather than, if you were to look at it, please tell me honestly if I'm wrong, maintenance of a building is far lesser than 0.5% of the cost of the building. If you can buy something for 1 crore, having bought an elephant, why are we fighting shy of paying the right bills? You don't pay the right bills, you can't get the right people, you don't give them peace to run the operation. How do you expect them to survive? The simplest thing is, please remember, any person can run a successful business, but when it collapses, you need an intelligent person. He has to create a cash flow where there is nothing. Why do you want to put this pressure onto your own people? Even if you have a protest, let's protest like the Japanese did. If there is a reason to protest against management, in a shoe factory, they decided they will only make the right shoe and not make the left shoe of the pair. But production continued. Can we not pay our maintenance and protest peacefully? I'm sure some solutions can come out. Every monkey can be skinned 10 different ways is what I believe I've read from the Chinese. We don't like the Chinese, but at least 2-3 ways we can skin the poor animal. So let's look at it that way, and let's look at law and everything in a participative, different fashion than you versus me. Let KOMA be the first act in which dispute pendency is reduced to 90 days, nothing to go beyond that. Is this something which we can collectively find a solution? Let us prove that in this country there will be no pendency of cases. Put it as a lofty aim, maybe you will hit 50% of it, 60%, but if you still manage to even close all issues within a year, would you not agree we have done better as a judicial record? What's your opinion? I see all of you silent, which means I as a teacher will have to leave you alone. Unless I hear your noise, I don't know whether you're with me or without me. Please, and please remember, what you have here is like a short marriage which has happened with a promoter. After that, honeymoon, wherein he also will give you maybe a visit, maybe even take you around to a golf course to play golf. At the end of it, he says, this is real life, start living tomorrow. KOMA is also similar to it. Please think about it. Then, when you move away, the basic problems which we have, which we need to look at, is to enforce maintenance arrears collection. This is a problem wherein people feel if they hold the check, they can get the society to be run the way it needs to be run. I differ with it. Pay your money and protest saying you're paid under duress and get your work done, because if you hold back money, you're not doing the right thing. If you can't pay for your water, if you can't pay for your electricity, then I think time has come to relook at which are the books of religion you study and what is your philosophy. Something is wrong. No free lunches are there, and please stop looking for free lunches. You have a cost to pay it. Walk with dignity. Do not descend to this level of fighting. because it's very unfortunate to say, I thought that if flats are higher priced, the community will be well run. No, there are more legal notices which are sent even faster than you can go down the lift. Please think about these factors and please look at it. And the other thing is retrospective change in maintenance. Everyone likes to cut their bills. So someone says if it is per square foot, let us head for flat fee. If it is flat fee, let us head for this. And recently there was a court case which was held, and I'm very interested to share with you the details. In that particular case, there were 440 apartments of 3 BHK and 40 or so apartments of 2 BHK. It was a separate tower. The 3 BHK guys decided they were in management to go and fight the case in the court and saying that henceforth maintenance which is there has to be done on an equitable basis. That means it will be shared irrespective of the size of your apartment. Wonderful. The management and the litigants who went in were all 3-bedroom, and I'm given to understand even the lawyer who appeared for them had a 3 BHK apartment. Now the whole system is silent about this, and we have changed our form of maintenance. They filed 2 cases. In one case, they gave their deed of declaration, they lost the case. Second case, they filed in an adjacent civil court, they won because they had not filed a deed of declaration. With this kind of impunity, if people win cases and we all start arguing, equated, per square foot, equated, all I can say is all of you would ensure that there is good employment for 2 chartered accountants in your basement to calculate the arrears, interest, and we seem to have forgotten some flats were let out in between or sold to somebody. You have given him a certificate saying that there are no dues. Who will pay for him? These are physical, practical questions, and unless you understand, we need to stop looking back and turning the clock and saying, hey, you know what, we sat for a meal, you ate more than me. It's over. The meal is finished, everything is over. Please start looking ahead. Then, if you look at it, maintenance, there is no discount if the flat is closed for a long time. I think this is absolutely absurd. At least water is not consumed. Should there not be an open declaration of leave of absence for, say, 90 days, whatever it is, and association can monitor and let those who consume the water pay for it. The principle of environmental law is polluter pays. The simple basis of economic principle is the man who had the meal has to pay for it. Whoever has not taken should be let alone. Why are we fighting these kind of things? Because we like a free meal. How different are we from those people whom we look down upon, who collect freebies from the government? I'm sorry. This is how bad I feel about it. Similarly, when it comes to discrimination, this morning I was in one of the best run apartment complex, but I was shocked to see service staff came into the lift along with the owners. One of the owners rebuked those people saying, how dare you come into the lift? Let me ask you guys, do we have to have a Sabarimala case here saying they're also entitled, or do we need to bring Gandhi and others back to say they are entitled? What kind of a mess are we creating? We are still continuing with such classification. Who are they helping out? You and me. You do this in some countries like Sweden, you would have been behind bars before you closed your mouth. This is rank discrimination. How can you expect people who come and help you and serve you to walk silently behind because they don't have 2 crores? I'm sorry, this is our average behavior, and unless we change it, any amount of law and rules will not help us. There are a lot of educated, erudite people on this side. We blame them for poor laws. How can they help us when we are built like this? You think we can hold them responsible? Please think about it. Then, the last thing which is here is, whenever you create an open repository of data, today we have a challenge to see what are the records of the association. Who has paid, what are the legal issues. The auditor does not say what are the legal issues, what are the issues between apartments. Supposing there is a leak, The best way to sell the flat is to cleanly whitewash the whole place. Those of you who have read Tom Sawyer would accept that this is the best way to sell the flat. Please go back and read Whitewashing the Wall as done by Tom Sawyer. Those of you who have not read, please go back. It's an epic in terms of selling. His mother told him, you cannot whitewash the wall. He said, I will do it. His friend said, what stupid work are you doing? He collected and cleaned them out of the cat with no eyes, marbles, everything, and he was sitting in the corner because others were wanting and vying to do the painting of the wall. We paint the wall like this and we sell our flat. It's written that in case you commit any deficiency like this, you are responsible. Have you ever challenged anyone for having sold you this kind of a flat? Worse than this, electrical installations which are there, the wires and insulation, after 15 or 20 years may have gone down. We never seem to collect a certificate from an electrical engineering saying it's safe. We are more bothered about Vastu, we are more bothered about title deeds. I suppose we must admit we like to get purified by Agni. Let this be understood because this is our rationale to even handle fire hazards. Please look further. Ensure from day one, whoever is dealing with the Karnataka Apartment Owners Act Open Repository, I request the government to make sure each and every official has an official email ID, not a Gmail ID. And their list of mobile numbers and everything is openly put out so that we start from day one having clarity whom we should approach and how we should file the complaint. Then comes the next thing. We need to also have a digital way of filing these complaints. I don't think it is any longer a new model which we are ascribing for or prescribing because today income tax hearings and other things are happening digitally. Why can we not file complaints or sort out issues digitally and appear for it? This is something to be considered, and we need to have a comprehensive repository in which we can access data and we can also share better quality data. Then, yeah. So more than elaborating on the presentation and saying how a digital backbone should be created, I would rather prefer you to think, collect this presentation from the organizers and go ahead and add your points and see how we can create a proper repository of issues to be resolved, and we go ahead. It is more participative than having one person stand in the front and claim he has all the wisdom. I don't have. I definitely do not have. And what happens is when you link your records digitally, water consumption and other things can be known perfectly. And why should there not be disclosure of the fact whenever your apartment bought water by tankers, should it not be disclosed to prospective buyers? Why should they think water is coming, Indra is happy with us, and when you come in, you suddenly realize only you have to do more pujas to get the water. There's something which is very strange. We like to hide original detailed facts under a thin veneer of boiled rice and hope that nobody spots the pumpkin. There's something to be seen here, right? And when we are talking of a legal transition pathway for existing societies which are registered, let it be pointed out that the Income Tax Act and the other acts which are there have not even heard of this problem. When you transition, then you'll realize they'll come with their demands. So the government should prepare and make sure that there is a proper way of creating a structured pathway. It's like you convert a company into a LLP or LLP into a company. Some of these things need to be thought through. Yeah. See, the biggest other challenge is you come and say this is a thankless job. Let me try to change it and look at it. What did I learn from coming here and asking questions or doing things or running things in my own association? I learned to interact with the politician. I learned he also brings something to the table. I'm happy to say all people come for happy occasions, but my politician, I stay in the constituency of Mr. Ashok, of BJP, Padmanabh Nagara. And when we had COVID, there was death in a family and they were also under quarantine. The team, after a phone call within 4 hours, managed to dispose of the body. Isn't this service? I'm not a fan of any party, but I've always told one thing to him and his people. You change the color of your party, I will still support you. We need to grow up, we need to interact, and not keep on saying they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. That's not the case. Please reconsider, and also remember one more thing. Our current act says arrest first, investigate later. This doesn't work. This has to change, because when you have a swimming pool death or anything which happens in the apartment, we are held responsible. Are we really responsible? Is a question we have to ask. Then, whenever you are planning for any apartment issues, I said, let us have self-governance. Let there be, for the first time, disputes heard by KOMA officials along with some people who have experience in apartment management, and let us close our complaints as soon as possible, then drag it further and further. We need to join BAF to work together. The fee which is there, joining fee, is barely about 50 rupees per year per flat. If you're a small complex, larger as a complex grows, it's only 5 rupees. Please join hands, because frankly, the more we stand together, the better off we are. But we often seem to fall on a very interesting English definition of community. KAM, unity. Kam hi hai unity, usi ko hum kehte hain community. Please think about this wonderful definition. So as I said, it is just to give you a bird's eye view of what should be done after enactment of KOAMA. And there are a million issues, more than what I can put in any PowerPoint. Please join hands. Please raise your hands and commit that you will join and participate and not blame N.A. Harris and others after 20 years. I don't think any of these people are responsible for the chaos, because when feedback had to be given, you were not there. Thank you. Sorry.
Check. Thank you so much, sir. That was so passionate, ladies and gentlemen. He spoke straight from the heart. Give a big round of applause. It's very colorful. I'm surprised you had to invoke the Beatles, the strawberry fields, and 10 different ways to skin a monkey just to prove your point, and a point very well made. Give him a big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce Shri Rajendra Kataria, IAS Additional Chief Secretary, Revenue Department, Government of Karnataka, a distinguished 1996 batch IAS officer of the Karnataka cadre. Shri Kataria brings with him nearly 3 decades of exemplary public service. Over the course of his illustrious career, he has held several key leadership positions, including Managing Director of KSRTC and Principal Secretary to the Agriculture and Sericulture Department, besides serving on Central Deputation. Today, as Additional Chief Secretary of the Revenue Department, he oversees one of the state's most critical departments, dealing with land administration, revenue governance, and matters that directly impact citizens, property owners, and residential communities across Karnataka. His dedication to public service was recognized internationally when he was awarded the Star 2020 certificate by the World Book of Records, London, for his outstanding contribution to the society during the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Shri Rajendra Kataria. Big round of applause. Unfortunately, he could not be with us in person. Ladies and gentlemen, he'll be joining us online. All eyes on screen. All right, we apologize for the inconvenience caused. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next speaker before we are able to connect. Are you able to connect? All right.
Delegates, all the dignitaries, and all the participants, students and friends. I hope I'm audible to all. I'm really sorry for not being here physically because of my last minute urgency, some commitment which I had not anticipated. I'll just focus on, since we are talking about the land governance, since I handle the subject land. Land is a state subject, as you know. Land and land acquisition, land registration, these all are handled by the state governments. So in Karnataka, I'm there for the last 3 years, and with my experience in the last 3 years and my past experience in various assignments where I have handled land. Land is a very critical, part of our ecosystem. Historically, if you look at the land ownership and the land titling in India, it is not very absolute, very clear. We are basically continuing the survey which was conducted by the Britishers when they were ruling this country. So in the entire country, various parts of the state, having worked in Haryana and now in Karnataka, so with that wide experience, I am sharing that the land survey was conducted by the Britishers at that point of time. The whole aim and object was basically to collect revenue. And the ownership came very, very late. The ownership in Karnataka and many of the states are still a subject which are debated. Now, if I look at Karnataka, how the land from survey to the ownership started. If you remember, during the Second World War, when we had severe food shortage worldwide, so that time the concept came that there is a land which is barren, which is uncultivated. So that land was offered under grow more foods, that people can convert that land into agriculture and then start doing cultivation. And then subsequently, after a few years, then government offered them, if you want to buy the land, pay some money and buy that land. So that was the first of kind ownership. Second was, like, as you know, that most of these lands in the entire country, actually, the state was the owner. Subsequently, with the state was the owner, this under various reforms, land reforms act, like in Karnataka, but particularly we had land reforms act in 1961. Then we had various Inam abolition acts. The entire land in Karnataka, various part of Karnataka, there was huge Inam lands given to the Inamdars, the Jamindars, the Jagirdars, who were basically supporting the then government. So these people were given large chunk of land. Some of the Inamdars had almost like some 30-40 villages, maybe more. Some of them, in fact, had entire district as their ownership. So when the land reforms came, so that time the ownership was, given to farmers, basically the land to tiller. Basically, people who were tilling the land, who were cultivating the lands, were given ownership. In Karnataka, the documentation of land records, somewhere in 2099, when I joined service in 96, 97, that time this Karnataka state was the first state where the records, land ownership records were getting computerized. So in 2002, in Karnataka, what we call is RTC. RTC is basically, R stands for record of rights, T is basically tenancy, and C talks about crops. So there is a table where the various elements are the name of the village, the location of land, survey number, his number, type of land, owner, the physical to digital, electronic. From that time onward, which I am noticing in the last 3 years, the land ownership has become very critical, because especially like in city like Bangalore and around, the land is very, very limited, and of late people are very, they have started creating fake records. So in the last 3 years, we have referred almost a few dozen cases. When we doubted that there are documents being fabricated, people have inserted in the file. And when we started sending these documents to the forensic, then we realized that many of the fake documents are there. So and then the records are also getting very old. Some records are more than 100 years. So 2.5 years back, I'll just highlight 2-3 main initiatives the state of Karnataka has taken to protect the old records and to sanitize the ownership records. So in Karnataka, we took one stand that there are almost close to more than 130 crore pages. Records are lying in roughly 240 taluks in 31 districts. So we took a stand from decision that let us go for digitizing these documents. So as of now, close to 81 crore pages we have digitized. 131 taluk offices, tehsil completely we have digitized, and now we are also digitizing the assistant commissioner office and deputy commissioner office. So once this digital process is complete, the ownership records cannot be altered about the land is concerned. So that is one part. Second part is, in southern part we have in a particular piece of land you will find kharab lands. Kharab are A and B type of kharab land where the government has the ownership or private people have the ownership within the part of a private land. So that also, and then there are government lands. So there are cases where the government land is sold to private people by fabricating the documents. So from the government side, we started a concept 2 years back, a land beat. So we developed an app. It's called Land Beat app. During the British time, so these Britishers used to visit the important installation on a regular basis. Police also do now post independence in the police beat. On a similar line to protect the public land, government lands. So we came out with this Land Beat app. Almost 14,37,000 government lands are there in the state, which are owned by my department, by Land Revenue Department, and most of these lands are either the raw big piece of land or the public lands, which are used as roads, drainage, channel, and parks, and for the grazing in the villages, grazing yards area, or the burial grounds. All these lands, to protect them from encroachment, and also to protect them from any kind of manipulation, mischievous activity being carried out by people. So we started mapping this area. So all the lands, 14 lakh and odd lands, we have physically our people have gone because it's geofence. So we have done the survey, and that entire land has been mapped. And in our Bhumi software, Bhumi is our land record software in the state, and Bhumi was the first of its kind in the country in 2002 when we came out with the Bhumi. That was the first in the country, and that entire country has adopted Karnataka model now. Now the records have been digitized. All the land owned by the government, most of it have been flagged in the system, so the mutation will not happen. Transaction, sale or other activities will not happen now. My sub-registrar will, because the system will not allow to fetch. Now the important thing since we are talking about the ownership, apartment ownership, but since I handle only land, so I'll focus on the land. So the land transaction, now if you have to go to Bhumi, or suppose if you go to sub-registrar office, so the sub-registrar office will not rely purely on what document you are presenting. Now we have linkages with three main databases. We have Bhumi, which handles the agriculture land. We have e-Khata, which handles the urban properties. And then we have e-Swattu, which is basically Panchayat, rural property database. When you go for registration, so my system will actually fetch data from these three databases. It will not rely upon your information, what you supply. It will cross-verify digitally to avoid any information or manipulation. On top of it, in Karnataka, we have close to 2 crore land parcels owned by almost 3.89 crores people. So 3.89 crore people are holding ownership of around 2 crore land parcels. So to avoid any kind of duplication, we started 2 years back Aadhaar seeding of these land parcels with the owner. And I'm happy to say that almost 89% of the land parcels have been now seeded with Aadhaar. So that if any transaction has to happen, it will through Aadhaar authentication. So that has actually reduced the impersonation or any kind of manipulation. So that is one thing which the state of Karnataka has done in the last 2 years. So that has sanitized the ownership record. One issue which I like to highlight, that when we grant any land, I mean, if you want to buy a land, there are few restrictions in the land transaction. Like if there is a land granted to any SC/ST, so there's an act in Karnataka. It's called Karnataka SC/ST Prohibition of Certain Types of Lands. We generally call PTCL Act. All the lands which are granted to SC/ST, agriculture land, cannot be transacted, sold to any person without the specific permission of the government. So in each case, it requires a government permission. So in my office, we give permission on case-to-case basis, because the idea was, when the lands were granted to the SC/ST, that the family is a source of income and survival for the family. So the source should not disappear. It should not go. People should not forcibly or otherwise take away this property. So we have some system that if you are disposing this piece of land, then buy some other piece of land, so that your dependence on agricultural activity continues with another piece of land, and then you are carrying out certain economic activity, and you are able to feed your family and maintain your whatever standard you are maintaining in the habitation. So that is one part. Secondly, if any land is granted to any person in state of Karnataka, so there is some restriction for number of years. Certain lands are for 15 years and certain land parcels are for 25 years. So within this period, there is completely no possibility of alienating that land to any person by any means. As I was saying, PTCL is a complete ban. You need a permission. In the second category, there is a complete restriction during this specific period. Again, only government can relax those conditions, but generally we don't relax these conditions, because we don't when we grant land, it's granted for a specific purpose. So that is the second part of it. Third thing about sub-registration office, just let me just tell you, we have basically sanitized our operations. Generally in India, people talk about high level of corruption in the sub-registrar office or in the Tahsil office and all that. So to remove that kind of image and to bring transparency, to basically make system better, we have now last 6-8 months we have tried hard, and now the land registration, whether it's registration of apartment or land or any other property, so you can apply online. The SRO will examine your paper online. If the papers are found to be okay and your fees calculation is done as per the statute, then he will say yes. He or she will indicate the amount to be paid as stamp duty and the registration. You pay the money and take a date. On that scheduled date, you can go and you can register. In Bangalore, you can register anywhere, irrespective of your area, irrespective of your place of residence. So there are a number of SROs in the city of Bangalore. There are almost more than 240 SROs office in the state of Karnataka. So you can register anywhere within the district. Now we are trying and expanding it anywhere in the district. So anywhere in the state. So that pilot is going on. One more thing which we have done is, by rotation, one office in Bangalore, we are trying to work on a holiday, so that people who work and who are not otherwise available, they would prefer to be available on a weekend, on a holiday. So we are also doing it by rotation. Every week, one office in the city is opened on a holiday, so that people can actually register their property. So that is a good governance measure from the state of Karnataka. You want EC, you want land records, they are available across the counter. You can nowadays, you can apply online, you don't have to visit any government office, and you can fetch this information. And we are trying from our side to make system as transparent as possible. There are, for your kind information, just to share, the department, the maximum cases, if you, most of you are from the legal background, or people who are organizing this event, and I am sure people in general would like to know. Just give a small figure. In 2023 and 24-25, 3 years, I collected some figure as to how many writ petitions are filed against this by the people. Generally, writ petitions are filed against the state, against people like us. Out of that, 40% of the writ petitions were against my department. They were land-related issues. So the dispute is very high. Second, I recently been to 2-3 districts, and I had happened to interact with my friends in the judiciary and also people into the profession. There's a high number of cases. More than 60% of the litigation in the civil courts are pertaining to land. So that starts with the ownership of the land, with the location of the land. Now, coming to the location of the land, we have in the last 2 years, we have something called all the survey lands. We are doing now geofencing of land. So we are surveying the entire state using drone-based technology. So there's an aerial survey, and then we are using high-tech rovers. Rovers is basically a instrument of measurement of land, and these rovers are connected with the satellite. So now in the Karnataka, we are the leader in the country now. Karnataka, we have started using rovers, and the rover is helping us in connecting and giving the right accurate information about the property. In the urban areas for measuring the properties, Bangalore doing something called UPOR, Urban Property Registration, which is now we are merging with eKhata, so that your property location, type of property, there's a photo, 2D and 3D photos are captured, and you can re-verify before you buy or before when you do any kind of transaction. So that is one thing, and for each property we are giving something called ULPIN, ULPIN, unique parcel land identification number. So for each land parcel, we are also giving a unique number, which is basically automatic number which has some calculation. So you can, with that number, you can actually find out the location of the building on the globe. So that exercise we have started. And lastly, as best international practice, there's something called land stacking. So that concept, that how this apartment has born from where it has come, or how this land parcel is from where it has come. As I was mentioning, the original survey was done by the Britishers in pre-independence. It was done 1815 odd. So on that survey map, the accuracy we have measured, on the survey map we are putting different layers, so that you can, tomorrow if there is any dispute, especially like in the periphery of Bangalore, a lot of agriculture land has been converted into non-agriculture, and it has been converted into layouts, or apartments have come in, and you will find thousands of such cases are before the court where the land is under dispute about the titling of the land or the location of the land. So now with the land stacking model, which we have just started, it will take some time to become a reality. But we have started that, where the base survey map, on that survey map we are putting the layout plan. On that layout plan we are putting your plot. On the plot we are putting your apartment. On the apartment we are putting your all kind of utility connection, so that when you click on, it will happen soon, when you click on the apartment location or the apartment or the area, you will get to know what the total land is, from where the land has originated, which survey number this land belonged to, who are the original owner, and how the ownership has changed over the years. Number one. Number two, how the layouts have been, permission was taken, how the plan sanction was given, how individual ownership was transferred, and then how utilities are connected to those individual properties. So this exercise is going on. I think this would help any person in very soon in future to basically verify about the genuineness, legality of the property. So that will help everybody. That is from the revenue department and government of Karnataka side way forward. And the last final word, we are also coming out with something called ULMS, Urban Land Management System, where all the, as I was saying, land stacking. So it's a model of land stacking. So in the blockchain model, all the databases will be connected, so that any citizen can fetch information about any property before one buys or one transacts. I think from my side, I want a few ideas of the state, what state has been doing. I've shared. If anybody has any question, may ask any question, or else I'm done from my side. Thank you. And I especially thank all the participants and the organizer for organizing such a workshop. The awareness programs are really essential. As I was mentioning, the highest number of litigation in the state and maybe in the country are pertaining to land, and sometime or most of the time it is because of the disputes arising about the location, ownership, and of late, especially in case of I think I missed one subject about RERA. In case of, like, there are a lot of RERA cases. I also handle RERA recoveries basically. Investors, they invest money in an apartment, and then the money is diverted elsewhere. So that thing is also going to be part of our ULMS model in future, when a person, a probable buyer will get to know what kind of layout plan has been sanctioned, how many plots or how many apartments have been permitted by the planning authorities, what is the height, what is the width, what is the setback, so that you know that all the parameters, all the norms of the government are followed while executing the project. And then there's a timeline for completion, because each builder, developer would have given some timeline to the RERA authorities before taking permission, so that you can also follow that what is the timeline for a developer or a builder to complete that process. Once the process is done, then if you know that there is a delay, so at the right time you can knock the door of the either RERA or the builder, so that you know that your money is not diverted elsewhere, and then the builder is not taking away your money, running away from the ground or diverting the money elsewhere. We do recovery of such cases. So those cases are also be part of it. So this ULMS platform which we are coming out with will also take care of the RERA. We are having a linkage with the RERA. So another maybe 2 or 3 months time, this will be rolled out in the state of Karnataka, and we will be the first in the country to come out with such a model. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Shri Rajendra Kumar Kataria. Can I hear a big round of applause? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Shri Rakesh Singh.
Good afternoon, respected Harris sir, Ramesh sir, Satish Malya, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rakesh Singh. I requested that I'll introduce myself. I am Rakesh Singh. Presently, I work in RERA. I'm RERA chairman. Just to start with, I'll thank Ramesh sir for giving such an illustrative presentation, and then the talk by Mr. Kataria. In last 2.5 hours, the things have become extremely serious. In my personal opinion, the issue is not so serious. It's not so complicated. It's very, very, very easy. And when I say that it's very easy, what I'm exactly talking is that once a promoter has started a project, what the home buyer wants, that what is assured to him should be delivered in a given time frame with all the assurances. Sometime around 2013-14, because of some experience in Delhi, this organization called RERA came into being. It has been almost 9 years. At the all India level, the number of complaints must be few lakhs. Most of them have been deliberated and answers have been found. And now the realization is that this act requires some midway corrections. So while talking to you, and what sir presented is basically about the Apartment Ownership Act. That has almost the entire discussions aspect has been completed. It was to be placed in the last assembly. Somehow it did not happen. Most likely with the new Honorable CM and with the initiative of Chairman BDA, in the next assembly session it will be cleared. But my quick and small point is where I started. It's not so complicated. What we were talking about, that once the project comes in the hands of association for the purpose of maintenance and other things, sir talked about UDA, sir talked about reconstruction. These aspects were new to Karnataka, wherein Maharashtra it was always there. But basically it is a small transparency that is required at the government level, at the promoter level. The promoter finds it extremely difficult to get his project cleared at different levels, be it the planning authority, be it different government institutions, be it RERA. Once these institutions, if they start working in a little more people's friendly or in a little more transparent in a given time frame, there is no reason for the promoter to in any way rub the allottees, because for a promoter it is not one-off project. He wants to do project after project, project after project, and this is only possible when they get the right reputation in the town or the state. For that, the government, the allottees and the promoter, we all have to come on the table, which is again repeatedly I'm saying it's not very complicated. Before coming to you, when I was talking to Chairman BDA, I was requesting, sir, that all these things what I'm talking is easily doable. It is not at all complicated. Once it is easily doable, I think there has been a little less effort on the part of people like me who have been in government for a very long time. With the help of the present, the new CM, Chairman BDA, on behalf of them and on my personal behalf, what best is possible will be done shortly. When I say shortly, I'm not talking of years. We'll try by the time next assembly session happens, all these things are resolved. After me, Chairman BDA will be talking. I request you that any of you, because we have been having a one-way conversation, there may be little doubts. If you have something to ask Chairman BDA or me, if we are ready with the answer, we'll try to come back to you. If we are not comfortable ourselves, I promise you please give it to us. By tomorrow, before the sun sets, we'll come back to you with all the right answers, solutions, and the time frame. Thank you very much for calling me here. I'm sorry I came a little late. I missed Chairman Law Commission's address. Thanks for calling and all the best. Have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, can I hear a big round of applause? Thank you for your commitment, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the next speaker, people sitting behind, you don't need an occupancy certificate to occupy the front rows. It's free. Please grab your seat because we have a very, very interesting personality coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce Shri N.A. Harris, four-term member of the Karnataka Legislative Assembly, representing the Shantinagar constituency and the chairman of the Bengaluru Development Authority, PDA. A respected public representative and administrator, Shri Harris has earned recognition for his commitment to public service and urban development, having previously served as a chairman of the Bengaluru Metropolitan Transport Corporation, BMTC. He has played a significant role in shaping Bengaluru's growth and infrastructure. Today, as chairman of the BDA, he is at the forefront of urban planning, housing development and initiatives that directly impact residential communities and the quality of life of the citizens of Bengaluru. His insights on urban governance, infrastructure, and future of our cities make him a valued presence at Proprietas 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Shri N.A. Harris. Welcome, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, how many of you think he's looking dashing in whatever he's wearing? Yeah, come on. Yeah, put your hands together for him.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone here. I know you're all tired of listening to everybody. You've got more than what is needed actually now, I think. On the dais, we have Rakesh Singh ji, the chairman for RERA, and Advocate Beena Pillai, who is responsible for getting me here. And we have Mr. Ramesh and Satish Mallaya, Rafiq Moideen, a lot of friends, a lot of developers, builders, apartment owners, and we are all in Shantinagar constituency. So I'm happy for that. As far as the issues concerned and the subject where it is going to is urbanization and coexistence. This is the main subject. Coexistence, nobody wants to agree. Urbanization, we don't know what is urbanization. That is where the issue is starting with. If we can understand urbanization, then the subject has not much of problem. Apartment is like a village panchayat in urban. Compared to a panchayat, village panchayat, is what exactly is an apartment in urban. Because that starts from there, the basic your problem is coming there. How do you manage your apartment? How do you manage your waste? How do you manage your water? How do you manage your electricity? how's the legal documents. You are ownership of an apartment, but you are collectively owning the building. These two things, if we understand, majority of the issue is over. Because the land belongs to whom, building belongs to who, sky belongs to who is the biggest question we face everywhere. And we dispute with that. If we understand we are part of that whole property and we have to live together, we need to exist together, coexistence. Our issues can be resolved easily. As the chairman of Bangalore Development Authority, we are trying our level best. Now we are also looking at, the government also is looking at vertical growth for Bangalore city. Enough, we have gone all around. We have reached some 800 and odd square kilometers of development in the city. Now I think even our Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar also is of the opinion that more vertical development should come. We have some constraint in Bangalore city, the airport, HAL airport, Jakkur airport. Now the Kempegowda airport does not allow us to go vertically. We are just talking to them to resolve that even. So I understand. If vertically it goes, you can take, if you just think about my constituency, Shantinagar constituency, we are just changing drinking water line, drinking fresh water, Kaveri. We are doing almost 380 kilometers of line in my constituency. You will reach from here to Mangalore, 380 kilometers means. That is the length of road and pipeline in one small constituency where the voters are 250,000. Population could be 4 to 5 lakh or maybe 4. So you can imagine how it is. So blame game is best. I will blame you, you will blame me, and there is nothing happening beyond that. No, that is not what we need. We need to resolve issues. The creator of problem is you, not me. You create problem and then you ask me to resolve it. It's highly impossible. If you don't create problem, then the resolution doesn't come there. So my request here is, if you people as a developer, as a apartment owner, and you have now already a lot of associations, apartment owners associations, and a lot of things you have formed. If you all can work together, I'm sure life can be much more better and we can live happily. Some people they don't want to understand the problem is not there. So they keep on telling the problem. There's a saying, if somebody is sleeping, we can wake him up. If somebody pretends to be sleeping, you can never wake him up. Nidre madonna ebbursbodu. ನಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಡೋ ಥರ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವನನ್ನು ಎಬ್ಸೋಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತಾ? ಖಂಡಿತವಾಗಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಈಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಎನಿ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಎ ಲಾಂಗ್ lecture here. I know you have heard a lot of lectures. Rakesh Singh Sahab also told whatever is needed can be done. We will get it done. The government is in your favor. Let's understand, I am standing here to take some questions from you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me, I can answer you. That would be better than me talking about things to you. Okay? Yeah, yes, give a mic to few questions only, not many questions. Don't repeat it, just. And Beena, as an advocate, is trying to resolve a problem where she loses her business.
Ask him, ma'am. Check, yes.
And I don't understand why she is trying to resolve this when if there is an issue, she gets business. No, I mean, I'm just trying to put it, see. So, people's commitment is very important. You have a commitment to resolve the issue is more important. It's not, if I'm standing here today, for me, it is better for me to resolve this issue than to have a problem. My constituency, I have an association of all apartments. We meet regularly and we take their issues and we resolve it. So if once it is resolved, there is no problem then.
That is so amazing of you to be so proactive, sir. So we go live Q&A. This is exciting, ma'am. If you have any questions, somebody raise your hands. I'll come to you with the mic. My first question to you, ma'am.
Just introduce yourself and...
Sure. I am Kavita Ranjan. I represent Almond Tree Row Houses and Villaments, Yelahanka, as the management committee in the capacity of a president. So thank you, sir. Thank you, Harris, sir. Thank you, Rakesh, sir, for your time, effort, and energy and coming here and listening to our vows. But at the same time, no offense to both of you, I definitely beg to differ when you say that thing is not as complicated as it seems to you. But they are trivial issues where, as apartment owners, as management committee, we get penalized and we get punitive actions, whereas simple people, those who are not paying maintenance, get away with things like calling the police for not allowing Zomato, Swiggy, small things. I mean, these are the issues that really need to be addressed. When a villament like us, 50 units only, out of which, if there are 10 defaulters, how do you think we run the society? How do you think we run the essentials? We run the entire show, WTP, STP. On top of that, every clearance certificate when we go for is asked for a bribe. How do we stop all that? These are the issues the common men, the middle class we face, and not about land reforms. Thank you so much.
I'll answer her.
Yes.
Thank you. I mean, it was a good question. Corruption is a major problem. Not apartment problem, is a small problem compared to corruption problem. So that has to be handled in a different way. But apartment issue is like, you just said it, some of the people don't pay for the maintenance of the apartment, they don't come. But then when the apartment is being built and when the developer is there and when you are, before you buy the apartment, you should understand to get that point cleared. Who will pay, who will be responsible, how the money will be collected, how the developer will transfer the apartment to association. That has to be made clear. When we are buying, we only talk about discount and take discounted rate, take the apartment, after that you get all the problems. Now, these things, I think as our brigade is here, so I'm also associated with brigade group, so I know what it is. If the developer and the apartment owners make a mutual understanding, where everyone, now see, government has a tax. You pay, you don't pay. Every year interest will go on, and end of the day, government will take auction your property. Maybe same way, even the associations also should form, and it is mandatory that you pay the maintenance. So as I think Gopalan was telling, if you have kept it empty, you are not using, what to do? Okay, you may put a condition to that. Maybe there's a small discount given when you are not in use or when it is in use, and everybody has to pay. Now, more than this, there are some issues like dogs. Some people love dogs, they keep feeding the dogs. Some people don't love dogs, they have a problem with that, it bites their children or their parents. Now some fellows say, no, I want that, I will feed. So I tell, I'm very open, see, you love animals, you love, but first you love human beings, then you love animals. The issue is, now, who will be first? You will ask me that question next. So it's very difficult. These are all issues which we need to, that's why I said, the two major issues is coexistence and urbanization. These two, if we understand, the major issue is over. I think, madam, your association should make it in such a way that all these things, because you have to put it on document and make everybody agree to it, then your problems are solved. And certificates and other things, Rakesh Singh is sitting there, I am here. You have anywhere corruption problem, you can approach us, we'll get it done for you. This is a commitment. Sir, Rakesh Singh Saab, I've given a commitment. I said there anywhere they have a problem with certificate, they can approach you or me, we will get it done. Like Mike then, Rakesh.
Yes. I really love the way this is going here, Mr. Rakesh. This is yours.
My immediate reaction to the two aspects of your question. One, the corruption, that is separate. Two, what you said about somebody not paying the maintenance. So what I checked, a system can be evolved where there's a competent authority who decides these kind of situations and give you a quick solution. I'll not promise because I'm not government, but what you are saying makes a lot of sense. I'll certainly convince
He's a very powerful officer in the government. Now he's again chairman. Sir, you help them, just take a phone and tell those people to give when they want some certificate, that's all.
No,
See, some people, some association, they take money from the owners and they don't do the work. So that is another issue. Some are that they don't get the things done at the government level. These two things. Some associations also take it granted to collect money from the residents. See, if I am practically, I own apartment, I develop, so I know what is the issue. So these are all different issues which I think they can resolve that themselves.
I promise that within this week, that is by Sunday, I'll articulate what you have said. I'll request Mr. Malya. By next week, we'll make it to government. And before end of June, I'll try that some kind of a structure should come up where these kind of issues, what Madam exactly raised, and any other related issue can be implemented, enforced in a particular time frame, because here the time is very important, sir. How will they run the association if maintenance is not properly created? I'll try to get it done.
Thank you. Please don't repeat the question if anybody has any other question.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that's a commitment made in front of you because you asked a question. Can I hear a big round of applause for both the gentlemen? And I think Mr. Ramesh also addressed that question of people not paying the association dues, right?